Hey guys, what if I was to tell you that one of the marks of spiritual maturity is how well someone controls their speech, tames their tongue? And in light of that, how would you gauge your spiritual life as far as your maturity goes if you were to gauge it and measure it by what comes out of your mouth in any given day? James 3:2 tells us, "For we all stumble in many things." While James is making the argument that one of the marks of spiritual maturity in a person walking by faith is that their tongue and their speech is guarded and their self-control, he readily admits that none of us have arrived. But notice he says that if anyone does not stumble in word, he's a perfect man. Literally, he's a mature man, able to bridle his whole body. So now James gives us an illustration. For we put bits, little tiny bits, in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their body, their whole body. And so the point James is making is that this little tiny bit controls this massive animal and brings all of this animal under control and really directs which way it wants to go. And the argument is that our tongue does the exact same thing. Our speech matters. Our speech really is a telltale sign of what's taking place in our heart. Notice what Jesus says in Matthew 15:18. But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man. And I think the reason that James is making such a strong point against one who doesn't guard their speech, is not being one who really is walking by faith, is because when we say things that we shouldn't say, it's really revealing that our hearts are not really right and healthy before God. So that brings us to the point of application. You, as well as myself, desperately need the Spirit of God to help us and enable us to be able to control our speech, control our tongue. Here's what I know for a fact. We cannot do it in and of ourselves. But may I remind you that the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. And when we draw close to God and we seek to know Him more, and we examine our speech before Him and say, Lord, help me, teach me to tame my tongue. Help me guard my lips. Help me learn to shut my mouth. I want to tell you something. The Spirit of God will enable us and help us, but we got to be willing participants. We got to desire it and want to know Him more. So that's our prayer today. God, help me to control my tongue, that I may be on the pathway of spiritual maturity. Hope this is encouragement. Go and make much for the name of Christ.